There's my man, Mr. Adam Cohen, the money man when things go wrong. This is what I love to see. Adam, I'm glad we were able to coordinate. I know your schedule's busy, mine's busy, just for us to get time together. But um, the main reason I think we kind of both agreed on this was putting this in perspective is people don't really think about insurance when it comes to buying a business or selling business. They know they need it, but they don't know like all like I always say the fine details. So it's like whenever we buy stuff, you get those little terms and conditions, or when you get your credit card, you get all those the little tiny words that people, all you
Never
see
read.
is 0% interest for like first 6 months, but then you don't read all the other jargon. That's kind of where that's your bread and butter. That's your fun house is all those little words and making sure everybody's protected. Um, Kind of give me an insight of like what you actually do as a public adjuster, because not everybody understands even what you do and the importance of it.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking the question. So basically, I am a public adjuster. So I work for the general public. I don't work for an insurance company. I don't work for anyone but besides the general public. So a homeowner, a business. And what I do is basically explain those little terms and conditions to make sure that you, the business owner or the homeowner, know exactly what you're getting and what you're covered for. So a quick example is when you buy a policy, no one's going to read a 120 to 240 page commercial
No,
insurance policy.
absolutely not. Yeah,
Let's be frank.
right.
But in there are some very, very important details. Not against anyone, but sometimes brokers, as in insurance brokers, pump out policies because they want to give their clients what they're asking for, as in, the best coverage with the cheapest price.
Right.
But there's a give and a take to that. So you might think you have, let's just say, $1 million in coverage, but what exactly is that coverage? Is that personal property coverage? Is that coverage for, let's just say you have a restaurant for all of your equipment, your tables and chairs, or is that just liability insurance? So
Right.
what I do is I basically tell you exactly what you have and what you're covered for, and make sure that the insurance companies, God forbid you do have to process a claim, that they pay out exactly what they are owed, and in that document what they said that they would pay for. The
Now,
insurance.
do you only help like when something goes wrong? So, are you the person they call when something goes wrong, or do you also help? Kind of give somebody a review and say, "Hey, you're covered for this, and you're not covered for this."
So I work for the general public. So I make sure, my goal is to make sure you understand what you're buying before you have to open that policy up and go through and see, hey, what am I covered for?
Now, you
So
said that twice that
yeah,
you work for the general public. Can you elaborate what you mean by that? Because I think some people aren't really they see an adjuster and they think you're there just to make sure the insurance companies get as much money as they can. Can you just highlight who you're actually working for?
yep, it's actually the complete opposite. I make sure that the business owner, the homeowner, the individual, so mom and dad, you as a personal business owner, you sell businesses, so all of your clients, not the insurance companies. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
No, it does. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the better you do for them, the better it is for you too, right? I mean, I don't know how you actually you pay per like hour for review. Do you get, how does the public actually pay you?
Yep. So for public adjusters, we get paid a percentage of the claim. It ranges depending on the complexity of the claim, and also depending on which type of peril. So if a hurricane hits, there's just certain laws that are in effect for commission. But our interests are aligned. I want to make sure that you obtain every dollar that you're owed to, because quite frankly, that's also how I'm paid. So if I don't get you any money, I don't get paid at all.
Well, I can say from how our worlds kind of connect is when people are buying or selling your business, running it, whatever the case is, we live in a world that you need insurance. So that is a given. But a lot of people, when they're looking to buy, they might see a line item on the expense side that says insurance is this. They haven't done some of the reviews that they might be underinsuring or sometimes overinsuring, and that's something that you could look at. And then on
Exactly.
the flip side, when people are looking to I guess run or eventually sell the business, they want to make sure that all those I always call those little snafus, those little, this happened, and then they go for their claim. They think that they were covered, and they really weren't. And unfortunately, with businesses, there's no real safety net. So you're considered quote unquote, in the big leagues, whether it's your first time out there or not, being savvy. And you're expected to, read your contracts, know what you have, know what you don't. A lot of self responsibility, but I think the ones I personally see people get, I guess the best word to say is kind of that wake up call. They
Yep.
didn't read all that, the small print language that's in their contracts, and assume. We all been told since we were kids, never assume. I guess it's never truer than in the world of insurance. So from a business side, I know it goes right into the wheelhouse on how to, and heaven forbid, if there's a fire or something in a restaurant, or, there's something that happens, a flood or something like that, that you need that coverage. You want to make sure that not only you're covered, but you have somebody that fights for you. Actually, on that point, let's do you have any some real world examples where you kind of stepped in and somebody thought they weren't getting any money and you said, I'll fight for you, and you made the insurance company pay? Anything like that?
It happens all the time, and I'm going to give you two examples. One example is a water damage claim where the individual had a slab leak, which is basically the main pipe under your house, in the concrete had a pinhole leak in it, and it flooded his entire house.
Oh, wow.
The insurance company came out, they did their assessment, and they wrote him a check for, I believe it was about $12,000.
Okay, not bad.
Not bad, but he had over $50,000 worth of damage.
Oh, wow. Okay, it is bad
then. Yes. He had continuous floors, so all of his tile flooring went throughout the entire house. The insurance company only wanted to pay for about 6 tiles that they broke because they had to access that pipe. By the time I was done with the claim, I obtained this gentleman over $85,000.
Really?
Little
Wow.
bit of a difference. So
Little. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
The biggest thing with that is knowing the playbook, but more so holding the insurance companies accountable for what they said in their contract. So they're paying for access to that piping, and we need to return the property to pre-loss condition. So if we cracked 6 tiles, we don't just only replace 6 tiles, because what if we can't get those tiles anymore? We have to have the whole floor replaced.
Okay.
I'll give you another unfortunate example going back to businesses. I had a gentleman with the last hurricane who thought he was covered for $1 million in personal property, and he was only covered for $300,000. When I educated him on his actual policy and what was covered, I felt terrible for the gentleman. But as you said, we all assume. Never assume. Call a public adjuster. Feel free to call me or send me an email, and have someone look over your policy just to make sure you know what you're paying for, and more importantly, what you're covered for to protect your assets.
Let's say somebody is I don't know. I'm trying to think of another avenue for you as far as where you can help people that I work with personally. Let's say somebody's buying a business, and once again, I'll just use let's just do something simple. I don't know, how about a florist? There you go. The first thing that came to mind, I guess, with the holidays, florist. So it's like somebody's going in there when they're completing their due diligence review. Is that something that a buyer can say, can you review this and see if I have enough coverage for this type of business? Can you do those and charge them whatever service fee that you do that? Do you do that kind of stuff or not? Or you wait for something to happen?
So I don't charge. I only charge if I'm retained, for lack of a better word, if you have a claim. The best thing would be, once you purchase that business, because we know what the actual value is per se with assets, equipment and whatnot,
Right.
but also revenue. So business income is also a major key to insurance policies if you do have to file a commercial claim.
Can
So
you highlight on that?
yeah,
That part you
so
just said?
absolutely. So uh, business income is basically the money that you're making every month. If there's a natural disaster that happens or a covered peril where your policy kicks in and your business is interrupted for, let's just say, 3, 4, 6 months, your insurance does cover you for that lost income.
Oh,
But there
wow.
are certain calculations and certain things where just because you're making $6,000 a month doesn't mean exactly that you're going to be getting a check for $6,000 from the insurance company. So what I like to do is help people understand, so they're not, sticker shocked per se if this does happen to them, but also, like you said, making sure that they have enough coverage. So if once they purchase the business and we know what the exact numbers are, so it all goes off of a rolling 12. You actually know what's going to happen if you do have to file a claim. Does that make
Perfect.
sense?
No, it does. I guess we'll wrap it up. But I had two other things in my mind. Is I'm a pretty blunt person, and I do that. What if I own my own business or selling and I have a policy and I have a claim? Why can't I just pick up the phone and call the insurance company? I mean, I know I'm probably just going to get an automated response, but won't they just take my call? I mean, what's the benefit of hiring a public adjuster?
They would love to take your call. At the end of the day, there are only two professions that can challenge a claim and negotiate a final settlement. That is an attorney and a public adjuster. Um,
Oh,
you can
okay.
call them; they will pick up. They will love to talk to you, and they will process your claim for you. Now, will if you disagree with them or if there's a dispute per se. Um, Unless you get expert opinions and it's a full-time job for a reason, what you get is what you get.
Got it. Okay. Okay. All
It's,
right. Beautiful.
I guess, to give a quick analogy, if you got summoned to go to court, would you go to court without an attorney?
Good point. Good point. No, it makes sense. Makes sense. Well, is there anything you think we missed that could help people that are watching? I mean, I think the moral is that I'm seeing is this is a lot more important than people think, and I think the summary is don't assume anything when it comes to the insurance part. Have a pro look at it, and if in the unfortunate event that something happens, don't try to tackle it on your own. Get a pro to come in and really help you out, because I mean, we're not talking the differences of hundreds of dollars. It could be hundreds of thousands of dollars in some cases. So I think that's the moral that we're trying to get on this video.
Biggest thing is don't get introduced to the process before it's too late. Like you said, have a professional look at, have an attorney, having a public adjuster, have a second set of eyes on your policy, just to confirm that you know that you're covered, you can sleep well at night, and God forbid you do have to file a claim. You know what to expect and what should be covered.
Perfect, perfect. Well, thanks for taking some time out. I'm glad we were able to coordinate our schedules, and hopefully, at the very least, this helps one person out there that might see it. I think all our contact information is below, but if people are listening on maybe on a radio or audio only, can you just give out how they can contact you?
Absolutely. My phone number is 561-350-0874. Best way to reach me is through text message or by email, which is Adam, ADAM, dot horizon, HORIZON, Paul Alpha, at gmail.com.
All right, beautiful. This is Dave Berton, Lobo Business Sales LLC. You can always reach me at lobobusinesssales.com. You can call me direct, 813-395-9552. Email is dave@lobobusinesssales.com. Adam, thanks again for taking the time out. And like I said, I have a good feeling this is probably going to help at least one person out there. And
Mission
that's
accomplished.
the goal of everything. So